Hello, everybody. I'm Madame Sensei. I teach Spanish, French, Japanese. I have a section of English language arts this year, so I've got 34 to 37 students per class. If you want to talk to me about any of my wacky ideas, I'd love to bounce ideas off of you. I'd love to hear what you think. Connect with me at the Minecraft Teachers Lounge or the Minecraft Education Ambassadors, on RoxM, at the Duolingo Educators Network, the Teacher Excellence Lounge or the World Language Teacher Lounge, Wayground Game Changers, and I am also in the Art in Spanish class, which I am really loving. So I do a lot of free voluntary reading because research has shown that you learn so much faster when the words are in context. And I really want to make everything relevant to the students. And there comes a time during the school year, when I just can't read aloud to them anymore. They're just not listening to me anymore. So it's like, fine, okay, you can read on your own because reading is so important. So I teach so many things in my classroom. This is my French bookcase right here, and then it's on wheels. I can turn it around, and here's my Japanese, and here's my Spanish, and I haven't even shown you my English ones, but the English, of course, is different, teaching English language arts. And then after they read for 5, 10, 15 minutes, depending on the stamina of the class, depending on the level, then I give them a quick write. And at this point, I've got 40 different quick writes to cycle through, which is great because they don't get bored of it. But the quick write is just, hey, I want you to play with the language that you were just reading. Okay, you just saw some words. Let's apply that to some other skills that we're working on. Okay. And normally I don't, I'm pretty chill about these. As long as a student writes something, anything, I'm so happy that they're playing with the language. It doesn't matter to me, like what they came up with. Maybe it's not completely grammatical, but they're playing with the language, and that's all I care about. But I had one 2 weeks ago that was really egregious. The students absolutely weren't thinking about what they were doing. And right here, you see, step number 2, double check that the verb matches the subject. Okay, so this is for Spanish or French. Obviously, Japanese students don't have to worry about this. But right here, this step number 2, 90% of them did not double check that the verb matched the subject. Or perhaps it means that they didn't understand that the subject was plural, or that the verb conjugates in this way, or whatever. So what I did was I went through and I wrote down the sentences that they had come up with. All right, the most egregious ones. So there, I put a couple of correct ones in there too. And I just wrote them down on this giant sheet of paper. Okay, yeah, you can see I kind of cut it so I could take a picture. But let's see, which is the worst one here? Let's see. La serpento. All right, so forgetting about the gender problems, there's an X here. This is plural. I'm not going to ignore the spelling that they gave me and everything, but these two things don't match. And this doesn't match this, okay? If they're going to say la, then they don't match, all right? And here there's a singular, and this doesn't match this subject, because this is a plural they verb. And you'll notice that I have these blanks, small blank, not a big blank, after each one. I don't want the students correcting it in this case. I'm just trying to teach them the metacognition involved in editing your own sentences. Okay? Then I wrote out how I would have corrected these. Now, normally I don't spend 100 million years correcting these. Look, I teach so many different things. I have 150 students. I don't have time to correct everything and give it all back. Okay, but here I want them to think about what they did wrong. So I just wrote what I would have written in a red pen if I'd had the time, okay, on those 10 that I chose. And then I'll explain this in a second, okay? So these verbs have not been conjugated at all. One is misspelled. What's the pattern for weird verbs? I try to teach them pattern recognition. Okay, one of these verbs is misspelled. Other than that, the sentence is correct. This was a good one. There's a random with. Okay, so a student said, what they wound up saying was, I say with my father, or the character, the whatever was happening in the book. He says with his father. I'm like, they're mixing up dire and parler. Okay, they're mixing up to speak and to say. So that cued me in on that. One of the verbs is not conjugated, and then think about the gender. And then this one was sentence is grammatically correct. They just left off a direct object. Okay, so it wasn't the verb give because I don't want them to know what it is. But it was something along that line of he gives. Okay, he gives what? So you match the subject and the verb, but you didn't think the whole sentence through. Okay, and then this one was perfect. This one right here. And then let's see, I got another one. One of the verbs does not match the subject. One of the verbs does not match the subject. Also, what do adjectives do? They describe nouns. Okay, so I want them to think about all that stuff. All right, and then you'll notice that I have this right fable, right peu. Okay, so I was thinking about mystery pictures, and a lot of the blogs that I follow, they're like, oh, download this mystery picture, but it's for Google Classrooms, and I live in the Pacific Northwest, and if we had a Google Classroom, all the parents who work at Microsoft would revolt. So it's a Microsoft school, of course. But I was thinking about all those self-checking mystery pictures and how cool they are, and I'm also thinking about my friend Learning Llama at art and Spanish class, and all the wonderful ways she showed me how to make escape rooms. And so I decided this was going to be kind of like an escape room. So each of those blanks has a word that the students have to write in. And the word is, I just randomly chose Asterix because all the students gravitate toward Asterix, of course. And it's one of his sentences right here in the end papers, which all the students should be familiar with at this point. So I printed out the page of the sentences. Okay, and I just chose yellow paper. And then I printed all my corrections, and I wrote them large. Okay, so they're easier to slice. And so I printed them out. It took like, I don't know, 3 sheets of paper, sliced between them with the paper cutter. That didn't take long. And then I had my TA collate them for me, but my TA misunderstood and put all the same sentences together, so I had to do it myself anyway, but it was okay. You see, I have a paper clip around it so that I could just pass them out to this class. There are 33 students in this class, so I printed 16 copies because I wanted the students in pairs. I did not want them 4 to a group. That's way too many. They could be in pairs. That way they can talk to each other, but nobody's just coasting, right? Okay, so then I handed them out, and the students had to look through the I think that's pink. I'm red colorblind. They had to look through these and find which ones matched which thing here. Okay, so you see they're thinking about it. And then when they found the match, then they would write in the word right here. And they'd write in the word right there. And then they could see that a sentence was forming. Now, one of the things I'm doing this year is experimenting with interactive notebooks because, I don't know, as the years go by, my students are struggling more and more and more with the concept of conjugation. So we've been doing these interactive notebooks where I felt like making things kinesthetic for them is going to help them remember and help them wrap their head around how the verbs change to match the subject. So on one of these flaps, here you can see she's taken out her book. I got the whole sequence here. She's taken out her notebook. She opens it up. Here's the flippy thing right here. On the front of the flippy things is je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, ils, elles, if I can pronounce the S there. So you can tell I'm doing the plurals, okay? And then she flips them open and she's color coding. All right, and then she can see, you can't really see her writing here, but the match to whatever verb she's looking up. So she's written the verb up here and maybe some notes about the verb down here, and then she's got that little flippy book. So she is referencing to get the correct answer, which made me so happy. All right, so again, students could double check themselves because as it was going on, they recognized, oh, this is a sentence I'm making. What would make sense And, kind of like a crossword puzzle, as they're going along, they're like, oh, I think this sentence is going to be this word. And then they can go through and, they can reverse engineer, and that's okay, because what I want is that metacognition. I want them thinking about how to construct a sentence. Now, what I would change for next time, um, I chose too many sentences. It took longer than I thought it was going to take. The students did it. They all did it fine and everything, but it did take longer. So I think next time I would just do 5 sentences, make my load easier, and it would be a quicker activity in the class. And also, the students know how to do it now, so it'll go quicker next time. So again, please talk to me about this stuff. Sorry, I'm trying to keep my videos under 10 minutes. I just went over. Talk to me about this stuff. Meet me at any of these places, and I hope to see you there.